in this video. Everybody stops at the hairpin. In Daily Race A, Daily Race B sees a big old crash as Pepito hits the barrier. In Daily Race C, this curb gives me problems as I head to Narnia. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo Weekly Race Guide here in 2024. Week 10 now, we're into double digits, and this one is an okay week. It's a bit weird to be honest with you. Let's jump straight into that first race then. And we are at Lago Maggiore East End Reverse in some Gr.B cars, which you can see in the background. We're essentially doing RallyCross. Good fun, eh? There's no dirt though, it is all on tarmac. Now we're doing 8 laps here. It's a grid start with a false start check. No traction control, which is interesting. Comfort soft tyres and bop is on. But you can apply the livery, of course. Lots of TTR liveries in here. I was a bit of a rebel. I was on the default livery. Now, some of you may not like this race. So there are some timestamps there for you if you wish to jump to race B or race C. However, this race is kind of fun, to be honest with you. You can have some good side-by-side action, but do expect a little bit of contact. Let's jump into the race then. Let's have a look exactly what happens. Right then, let's see who's in what car then. Lots of Ford Focuses. The Toyota Celica was top of the boards when I started this race. You will see a couple in here as we get ready. Now, no traction control, but it is all-wheel drive, so we'll see how it sets off here as we get ready, holding that handbrake. And off we go then. Somebody got a little bit of a jump behind there. I think that was Hodgson as we look towards turn number 1. Now, traction control wasn't really needed there, as you saw. But as you come into here, this corner is very dangerous. In fact, there's nearly all the corners are actually dangerous, thinking about it, going through here. But going into there, you will slide a lot. You'll see a lot of oversteer moments. As we continue on through, then Hodgson managed to jump me there, and Mario Sonic's just falling back here in that Toyota Celica as we head up to this next left-hander then. As we go onto the brakes, Mario Sonic sends it down that inside then. Does he get it stopped? Yes, indeed. Somebody's off there towards the right-hand side. That's another TCR member there. It's Blind Man GT. As we continue on through here then, and into the left. Mario Sonic's been off there, my word. So I'm heading down the inside. Now, interestingly, with these cars in general, actually, you don't actually want to rag them and slide them. I think a softer approach in these cars is the better way to do it. I'll talk about it more in the guide. We saw Hodgson come back on there, dirt on their tyres. We're going to go on the inside then. The Celica of Tricolore there up ahead. Well, off into the barrier as we go down in towards turn number 1 then. Around the outside of the Celica right now. All sorts of oversteer for Tricolore. I'm sure that means 3 colours, and they've technically got 3 colours on there. They've got the red, the green, and the white. So we're looking down the inside of that Celica then as we head up here. We're up into P8. No, sorry, we're in P8 now. We're looking to get into P7 as we go hard on the brakes. Tricolore deep down the outside then. We're on the inside. We get ahead there. Now up into P7 finally. Let's fast forward a little bit here. Let's try and catch up to this next pat then. As we go through this right-hander, looking up ahead, Arky's in the wall, Blue Racer's in the wall as well, and Arky's in the same livery as me. We're teammates, Arky's, this week as we go down here, but I'm going to try around the outside again. Notice how much more stable my car is there as I go through here. I just had somebody was completely off in the rear-view mirror. It's amazing what you see during the commentary version of this video instead of racing it. Anyway, down here we go. I go full oversteer there. I turned it into RallyCross. That was fully on the grass there, but I came back on, thankfully, and we're still looking at fighting up ahead. So let's catch up to this fight then with a... is that a Hyundai up ahead? I'm pretty sure it's a Hyundai Genesis up ahead. Oh, Chicken Angels hit the barrier then in the Hoonigan Ford Focus as we head down here then. Oh, Hanson Frank's off. Shelty's off as well. We're looking at the inside. We back out of that one as we continue on through here. There's Hanson Frank just reappearing out of nowhere. As we continue on, Shelty's got a 3-second penalty. Oh my word, Shelty, what have you been doing? We'll have a look at that one in the bloopers, that's for sure then, as we head up here. But you're noticing the cars are all over the place. Expect this in every single race you do. You do have to be careful because SR is still on. You can still get DR resets with your SR dropping, so you do be careful doing that. As we were looking to go side by side with Chicken Angel as we go into this left-hander, and it all slows up there. I have to really back out of that one. Hitting Shelty there, but I know where to go. But we continue on. Hanson Frank now with a 1-second penalty. 2 penalties up ahead. We're looking at around a P4 then net at the moment as we go through this right-hander. We get a real big run on Shelty as we go on to lap number 6 here. Good amount of laps, actually, for Daily Race A as we head down in towards turn 1. Again, trying to keep this car nice and stable as we go into here. Use as much of the track as we can. All of it, every inch of the track as we continue on out of there. So Hanson Frank's going to take that penalty. We're going to be racing Chicken Angel in that Hoonigan Ford Focus as we head up here hard on the brakes. And I will look in that rearview mirror. We've got somebody going absolutely flying. It looked like my teammate just finished race but I'm not too sure. We'll check that one in the bloopers. They were flying there as we go into here then. Side by side with Chicken Angel still then. Again, slowing the car down nicely, keeping it nice and stable as we accelerate through here. Going to boot it out of there as quick as we can in third gear. Happy days indeed. So we advance to lap number 8 then. Blue Racer up ahead in that Hyundai Genesis, as they say on the old adverts, is going to come home in P2. And Sonic, a win for TCR there in P1 in the Ford Focus. TCR living Ford Focus. Really well played to Sonic there. But a good fun little race. Highly recommend you do give this a try, folks. It is good fun and it's worth, you play the game for fun. Have some fun with it. Right, heading down towards turn 1 then. Let me tell you how to do this lap. When you start seeing the orange there that I'm seeing and highlighted right there, brake. But I want you to brake in a straight line. So I'm going to try and brake in a straight line here. The more you turn, the more the weight transitions, the more oversteer you get. I don't think you want oversteer, to be honest, but some of the fast laps do have oversteer. But coming down into here, notice I'm trying to straight line it as best I can. I do get a bit of oversteer, trying to get on that inside, and then I'm going to accelerate as quick as I can. You'll get a lot of understeer in third gear. So go to fourth gear when you feel like you're going to understeer off the circuit, okay? As you get up here, on the right-hand side, you've got those boards on the right-hand side. The one near the top of the hill here, you can just see it right there. You'll notice it as you race, even more so as you race, actually. I'm using that one just before the top of the hill as my brake marker. Really good brake marker for the Ford Focus. If you're in the sleeker, you got to brake earlier. But they're your brake markers for this left-hander. Now, I keep it nice and tight here. I want to accelerate really early here. And I do short shift to fourth if I start hearing the wheels spin. As we continue on through here, then this is the dangerous part. This is the corner you really need to get right. So you can have use the billboards on the right that I haven't highlighted because I'm focusing on that sausage down. Just before I get to that sausage, I'm going to hit the brakes. So that's hitting the brakes before I start going downhill. So I get more stopping power. As you go downhill, obviously, you have less stopping power. So as I come down here, I'm trying to keep the car stable as possible. So I slow the car down, keep it nice and tight, up into third gear very early on, and then I just boot it out of there. So we're going to abuse all track limits if we can on the left-hand side here. Staying on the red and white curbing, though. And at the end of this red and white curbing, we want to just dab the brakes a little bit. We want to slow the car down. These Comfort Soft tyres don't grip very well. So you need to make sure you keep a nice, tight line for this next right-hander. So it's over to the left. We're maximizing the circuit width. Keeping it nice and tight then for the right-hander. And as we accelerate through here, you can go and hit the wall if you want, if you manage to survive it. But I'm just not going to hit the wall and accelerate towards the line. A 48.001 there. Can you get much more than a Gran Turismo lap than a .001? I don't know. Now, we've already jumped to race B here, where you can see we are in the Porsche 911, which means Group 3, and we're at Trial Mountain. We are doing 4 laps here, so it's a very, very, very short race. It's stupidly short, actually. Rolling start on racing medium tyres. You can alter the suspension, the differential, and the brake balance. Now, I chose the Porsche 911 because this is a mid-speed track, and this is top of the mid-speed test that I've currently been doing. Now, this car is very quick here, and you'll see that in the lap guide as well, and potentially on the leaderboards. Let's jump to the race then. Let's have a look exactly what happens. Right then, here we go with race B. We've got Mercedes-AMG at the top. That was top of the leaderboards at the time of this race, and McLaren is in there as well. And let's jump straight into this race then. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a like. Do subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content, including this weekly race guide every single Monday as we see somebody trying to go around the outside, then inside through their very complex set of corners. Up ahead, we've got fighting as well. Marisonic on the inside of Noel Jack there as we go into this left-hander. Somebody was actually into the wall there in the tunnel as we continue on out of here. Then side by side with the Spanish driver as we go into this right-hander. They're on my inside here. Now, they're going to get a bit of a nudge there, and I did notice the nudge, so I wasn't blaming them at all here as we go into the right-hander as somebody has gone through. That's Papito going through. We're going to have a look at that driver a little bit later on because it's not the last we're going to see of Papito, and some interesting driving, to say the least. Let's put it that way. But stay tuned for that. Right, we advance towards the end of lap 1 then as we catch up to the traffic. All Constantina's up here. All gets very slow, tight and close as we continue on through there then. So we get a good run on Papito here and lots of cars side by side up ahead there. We've got the Hungarian next to MG Flash. Marisonic trying to get involved as well. I back out of this because I didn't want to go 3 wide into turn 1. It usually means absolute carnage if you do this. But Papito's going to send it all the same in towards turn 1. Pretty good move there by Papito actually. Did manage to get that job done. Fair play as we go into the left-hander and continue on. But we're still in this fight, a really big fight, but it is lap 2 and it's already nearly halfway into this race already. It's how fast this race is. It's way too... It needs 2 more laps at least, this race, as we are on the inside of the Hungarian then as we go into this right-hander. Was aware of the inside and they give me plenty of space on the outside as well, so I appreciate that from you as we go into this right-hander. We're back catching up to Mario Sonic here. Papito up ahead is going to send it on MG Flash there. Slight tap between the 2 drivers. It was a bit deep there for Papito as we continue on. Mario Sonic's got the run then. It's all AMGs up ahead. Let's see what happens here then as we head towards the left-hander. Going to go on the brakes there. Mario Sonic's down the inside. Get it stopped there perfectly. Happy days indeed as we go into this right-hand MG flashback out of it. Slight tap on Pepito there. Just back out of it. Fair play. We're going to get a run on Pepito here. As we go towards the left-hand side, they just turn into me and block. Yes, some dirty driving there, Pepito. Very dirty driving. Not very, just dirty driving, actually. It's not too extreme, but it is dirty. Anyway, I was flashing my lights there. I was not happy. But as we go into this left-hander, they brake for this turn. No idea why. Hammer into the barrier. They come back on. They hit MG Flash. And that all becomes very frustrating indeed. And that becomes even more frustrating because I get a 4-second penalty, as you see with my face. Yes, 4-second penalty. And it's not my fault. Pepito driving a bit dirty, gets it all wrong at turn 1 as well, and yeah, causes absolute carnage here at Trail Mountain. So very frustrating. Of course, that does mean that's going to be the end of my race as we head towards the line. Very frustrating that it's so short here. You are going to see some very, very, very dangerous and risky driving to get up that grid because it is so short. It's a very short race. It really, really, really is. I really wish they would improve that. 7 minutes 33. You wait more than you do this race. That's how insane that is. Right, we're going to go in the Porsche 911 here just to literally categorically say I am not using setups in these guides, okay? I'd never use them. If I use a setup, I'll tell you. Anyway, heading towards turn 1, you have the gazebos on the left-hand side. Some cars will lift at the gazebo. In the Porsche 911, it's got very good brakes, very good handling. I'm going to lift slightly as I go past it here. Cut all the inside. I want to go over towards the right as much as I can here so I have a nice run for the left-hander. Make sure you do not overspeed on the right going into the left because the right is more critical to get right and slow down so you can fast forward through the left like I've done here. Head towards this tunnel then. You've got the end of the yellow barrier going into the Armco, or alternatively the start of the tunnel if you so wish. There's chase cam version if you want to see exactly where that is. We're going to go hard on the brakes. You want a later apex here. If you're going too tight, you're going to leave just way out on the opposite side of the circuit. It's going to be horrible for you. As we head down here then, we've got big rocks. I've highlighted the first rock there. That is my brake marker in the Porsche 911. It will be your brake marker in the majority of cars. It's the marker I always use here at Trial Mountain. Okay, you can just see that on chase cam there. So don't turn in too early for this corner. It's a very common problem in GT1, Gran Turismo 1. Still there in GT7, invisible wall on the inside. Just be careful. That's the end of Sector 1 then. As we head towards Sector 2, the end of the curb on the left-hand side is your dab of the brakes and chuck it into this right-hander. You want to try and stay on the inside lanes. When I talk about lanes, there's a middle line there. You want to try and stay on the inside as much as possible without going too far out. And the reason for that is you'll compromise the back straight. So I'm trying to stay here as much in the right-hand side lane as I can. There we go. And as we get to the start of the tunnel, I've highlighted the yellow sign, the electrical board, the warning sign, and technically a bit of the tunnel there as well. They are your markers for this left-hander. As they leave the screen, hit the brakes, okay? Hit the brakes, turn in. Turn in earlier than you think, okay? You can take a lot of the inside line. Look how much I'm going to take here. I'm so close to that wall there. Be careful of the frame drops. They do exist on that corner, but accelerate as early as you can to make sure you get the maximum speed down the straight. Lots of time to be gained there. Now, on the right-hand side here, at the end of the straight, is a yellow sign with a left arrow. It's telling you where to go. How about that? Helpful. Now, I'm braking just after that, but that is your brake marker, okay? You see that sign, you judge your braking accordingly to your car. In the Porsche 911, I can brake a little bit later. Now, you don't want to turn in too early here. That big rock is your accelerating marker. You see, I've just tried to go on the accelerator right now. That is your accelerating marker. If you can nail this line perfectly, you start accelerating there and you will nail it round the corner. Now, I'm going to get this slightly wrong where I have to lift and then go back on the accelerator because I've turned in a bit too early. And there's what I do right there. But I'm instantly back on the accelerator as quick as I can to start heading up this hill. Up mountain, should I say. It's Trial Mountain. Right, as we go up here then, be careful about hitting the barrier on the left-hand side, or more curb, but it's an invisible barrier. But that tree trunk there is your brake marker. You can see I've just started braking now. I'm braking before the crest of the hill. Similar to other tracks, essentially, if you're braking uphill, you'll slow down a bit better than if you're braking downhill, which is where we're about to go now. If you brake on the hill, you're going to get loads of weight transfer and you will oversteer off. Through there we go as we head down here over towards the right-hand side. And once again, we're using a nice big rock on the left-hand side as your brake marker. So as that hits the edge of your screen, I can talk, I promise you, that is going to be you hitting the brakes. Now, there's a lot of curb on the inside. You've got the yellow and the blue and white. Try and cut a lot of that as much as you can. A bit camber to your favor as well. And when you're on there, start accelerating, okay? You'll get a bit of oversteer in some cars. Just be careful of that. Adapt accordingly. Right, we're heading down here then. And a bit unusually, we can't really see our plain concrete barriers. That's the first square on the left-hand side. What you can see is that shadow. And every time I retried, the shadow stayed there. So do keep that in mind. That is your brake marker, okay? Here's the concrete without the advertisement on that you can see on a different time of day. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it is right there, okay? But I'm going to show you from chase cam as well. That shadow is a good marker in the Porsche 911, but use it. Just brake a bit before it. It's absolutely fine. This race is so short, the sun ain't going to move at all in the sky. So we try and keep nice and tight on the left to get a good run for the right. You want to get a good run here to avoid oversteer. I get a bit of oversteer there. That's going to cost me some lap time, but I head towards the line with a 48.9. Remember, that's without a setup. This Porsche 911, I would argue, is going to be the fastest car there this week if you have a setup. Now you can see we've already jumped to race C then. We're in the Renault Megane Trophy. We don't use that car very often. It means it's Group 4, and if you haven't already guessed, it's Brands Hatch. We're doing 11 laps here. It's a rolling start, racing medium tyres with a star, which means you have to pit. ×1 fuel, ×5 tyre wear, and you can adjust the suspension, the differential, and the brake balance in these Group 4 cars. I chose the Renault Megane Trophy. That's had a bit of a change, or it feels like a bit of a change at least with the new BOP. I've not checked for sure. Let's jump into the race then. Let's have a look exactly what happens and how this Renault Megane Trophy actually performs. Right then, who's picked what? Scirocco for Shelty. Brave choice. McLaren 650S for Sonic in P2 there. Ferrari in P3. Mixture of all sorts. That Porsche was actually top of the leaderboards when I started this race. Not subscribed already, you just saw the graphic, please just subscribe. We're on our way to 50k and I appreciate all the support. We've just hit 45,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. Honestly, a big thank you to anyone who is subscribed. Right, let's get into this race then. Brands Hatch, very hard to overtake here, which does mean that strategy where you have to pit comes into play, which is always nice when you've got strategy in there. I say this every time. If there's good strategy in Daily Race C, I like Daily Race C already. There's close racing here in Daily Race C. Makes it even better. So I think this is a really good race, but we'll see how good as we continue on into this race. So I'm heading towards the last turn here. I'll whack my indicator on here because I do know where that is on the wheel. And we're going to go into the pits here. Now, we're pitted on lap 1, which means we're not changing tyres. In other cars, you may need to change tyres, if I'm honest with you. Shelty in the Scirocco potentially needs to change tyres. Very quick pit stop, though. What's that? 11 seconds there in terms of a pit stop. It is a very, very, very quick pit stop. And in fact, I was surprised by how fast it actually was because we're already at the back of the pack as we see a Spaniard there unghosting. So they've had an incident here, has Royo. Well, we're going to go on past hopefully here as we head down here then. But the Spanish driver wants to fight, which I was a bit confused over. Slight tap there. I was like, come on. He's giving me room to be fair. It's just a mistake in the corner. But I was like, come on. We're in a different race here now. Let me go, let me go, let me go. But they can race who they want here. I am aware of that. But I'm just telling you my honest feeling at the time. So we get to the end of lap number 2. We've got people coming out the pits here. Here's Womble leader. So I think I got actually compromised on that lap. As you see here, we're actually catching up to everybody else now as well. We just get past Womble as Womble left the pits then. We're going down the inside of another Megane Trophy of Callow then. We've got Never Quit 69 there on the inside. We're trying anyway at least as we head down here as we go on to the brakes. Graham Hill too wide. Never normally do this, but my word, fair play to the Brit there. Gave me enough room and I went round the outside. But this is epically close racing, and it does mean even more strategy because you can't just pit on lap 1 and escape everybody because you catch up to the back of the pack. Lots of things to think about here. Kind of nice, to be honest with you. And we do get a good run on Norman Power here. Now, with it being quite a short race at 11 laps and a 1 minute 30 lap, you do have to make some pretty risky moves as that one was there. I did set them up for that move as we advance to lap number 4 going into here then. You do have to set up moves. You do have to make moves here at some point. As you see up ahead, side by side, Dingle Dell. That is a very, very, very dangerous move. But they make it work. There's Metal 8 Racer and Blue Racer. Fair play to you both. They're both racers, apparently, as we go into the left-hander then. Side by side still lay went. But that's compromised them both here. I've got a good run on them both. I'm going to go down the inside then of 1 and 2. Here we go into the right-hander. But Blue Racer holds it around the outside in that Toyota Supra. Fair play indeed. As we continue on a little bit later on in this race, and we're behind Blue Racer. We've jumped some people from the pit stops and everything else as we head towards turn 1. Shelty stayed out there in the Scirocco on the medium tyre. Of course, that's the only tyre we're using here as we continue on through. Blue Racer made a mistake there, panic kill. I just tapped the rear there. I thought I was going to go for it, backed out of it, but even so, we're going to try around the outside now of Blue Racer. Let's see what happens on exit. Lots of oversteer for Blue Racer trying to give me room there. Fair play to you as we head down towards this left-hander. We do get it done then at Graham Hill. Through we go into P6. Steve's almighty favourite place. Steve started streaming again. Big shout out to Steve for that one, as Steve's streams are always awesome and fun at the same time. So, through we go here towards the end of lap 6. Shelty finally comes in the pits trying to avoid the traffic. Again, strategy. It also tells me Shelty is going to change tyres in that front-wheel drive car. And I highly recommend he does based on the tyres Oh, the look of my tyres at the moment, halfway into the race, and I haven't changed as we continue on through. We'll see how Shelty goes as we continue on. Shelty actually has the fastest lap here as well. Sonic's now in the lead. Blue Race is going for the move then on me. Round the outside at Paddock Hill. Very dangerous move to try out. Is Blue Race going to get it done? That is the question. Not quite then as we maintain that position. We're up into P4 then when all said is done so far in terms of pit stops. I think everybody has been in the pits now. And so Sonic hasn't been in the pits actually because Sonic is still 14 seconds ahead. So, further on into lap number 7, we're going to go into this right-hander. We're trying to catch Stack here as we go into here then. We just clip the sand. We're off. We catch it, though. Blue Race is coming very quickly. You have to be so careful in that corner, but I was slap bang in the middle of the circuit. Nowhere for Blue Racers to go then as we continue on through here. It does mean I'm going to have to fight again as we go into left-hander. But again, I keep saying it. Lots of different strategies available here. Sonic's just going to pits on lap 7, the end of lap 7. Probably not changing tyres at that point. No point. As we go into this right-hander then. And we're purple as well. And Stag there just goes a bit wide then. Heading towards this next right-hander. Is Stag going to survive this one? We both sort of missed the curb there a little bit. The curb does help you. I'll explain that in the track guide coming up very soon indeed. So through Dingledell we go. Into the right-hander we go. Oh, slightly off there. Stag's feeling the pressure here as we go into the left-hander. Sort of get that wrong as well there as we go through there. Stag over towards the left-hand side then in that Ferrari 458 as we head towards the final braking zone then. Hard on the brakes we go. Does Stag maintain that position? Yes, he does. Oh, on the exit. Oh, so close to the edge, but you made it work there, Stag. Well played indeed. So we are in that slipstream. And one thing to note, I don't know if you've seen this, the Megane Trophy is quite quick in a straight line now. It can keep up with everything else, which is good to see. Stag unfortunately gets the braking all sorts of wrong into Paddock Hill Bend, and we're up into P3 as we go to the final lap where we've been chasing Sonic down here. Going into this right-hander then, we're going to clip the curb on the inside, and the car just understeers off. We're off there, but we managed to bring it back on, so a mistake from me. We head towards the end, and that's a TCR 1, 2, 3. You can see that in the camera. Yeah, TCR. Absolutely dominating here. Awesome stuff from everybody there. Well played, Chelsea. In the Scirocco. It shows you change of tyres in the front-wheel drive cars could work here as well. That balance is definitely working. That BOP update has been awesome so far as we continue on. So let's go into a lap guide then. Heading towards Paddock Hill. You have the 2-board and the Marshall box. I'm braking in the middle of that. The closer you get to the Marshall box in the Megane Trophy, the more you'll want to downshift to 3rd gear, okay? It's just got a bit more rotation in 3rd gear, and that's what we're actually going to do here. So we drop the 4th gear, 3rd gear to rotate, 4th gear then to accelerate as we continue on down Paddock Hill. Being brave, knowing the car will grip on that compression. Heading up towards Druids then, you've got the left-hand side barrier there where it's red or dark red at this moment in time. You got the Palmer Sport up above you as well if you want to use that. I love Palmer Sport, by the way. There's some videos of Palmer Sport on my channel if you want to check it out. But yes, the red painted barrier on the left-hand side there on chase cam. You can see it as we go into the braking zone there. Nice tight line early on the accelerator in this car. 2nd gear up to 3rd gear. You may get some oversteer. Just go to 3rd gear if you are struggling. And heading towards Graham Hill then. On the right side, you've got the green barrier, other one, or you can try and get as close as you can to the curb I've highlighted right in front of you in the middle of the screen. Any of those brake markers are really handy. I'm sort of using the curb here in this particular car, trying to get as close as I can, but you do have a risk of going off there. Clip the inside curb, then use all of the exits if you can. You may suffer some oversteer. Just be careful if you do. Head towards this next corner then. On the right-hand side, you've got the 1-board or the end of the barrier, which is green. Again, easy markers to highlight, and I always use these here at Brands Hatch. So for this car in particular, if you take a tighter line, you're going to get some oversteer on exit. A wider line will mean a better run on the straight. Pick and choose your line. I go for a middle of the road approach, come back there, clip the curb slightly, and accelerate through. There are different lines for that corner. Pick and choose what you feel comfortable with. I'm sure you'll find one that will work there. This next corner then, the right-hander, the really fast right-hander, Hawthorns. On the right side, you've got the red barrier. That is my brake marker, okay? So I'm hitting the brakes, and I want to maintain 100 miles an hour through this corner. That's always my target in Group 4, 100 miles an hour, and I'm pretty nailing it. Pretty nice there. And you can see there, 102, went down to 101 just there. On exit, I've used all the circuit and more there. And on the left-hand side, we have a red barrier. Once again, that is your brake marker for this right-hander. This one's a bit more tricky. You will suffer a bit of understeer on this one, and the curb may chuck a bit of oversteer in there as well. So I try and use as much of the curb on the inside as I can, but I'm also on the throttle as I hit the curb. That balances the weight a little bit, and that's what I'm trying to do there. And you see there, the car's a bit more stable and fine. If you're completely off the throttle, it may spin it out a little bit more. So just try and play with that as you go forward. Through Dingledell, on the right side, we've got the 1-board then. That is my brake mark for this right-hander. You can't see the corner, but you know it's there. So I want you to start turning in towards the corner and then start accelerating before you see it as well. It will help you increase that time and the speed that you get through there. Notice that I'm trying to accelerate as early as I can. You can use a bit of the grass there on the exit. Just be careful as you come back on. And on the right-hand side, we've got all these marshals stood there with the extra catch fence on the right-hand side. That's your brake marker for this left-hander. This corner is cambered, so if you remember from cambered corners, you want to get as much on the inside as possible. It will help you get around the corner. So you can actually carry a bit more speed. That's what I'm trying to do here. All of the inside, accelerate out. I am fine. If you run remotely wide there, you can carry at far less speed than you can if you're on the inside line. The final corner then, 3 markers to choose. Choose whichever one you like. Green barrier, 1 board, or the start or end of the Indy circuit there on the right-hand side. I'm breaking in between the green barrier and the 1 board, but you can see all 3 markers there. Pick and choose as you like. Again, these are reference points for you to use and play with. Now, I dropped to 3rd here in the McGann Trophy and then back up to 4th to get that rotation, get that turn in that I talked about for turn 1 at Paddock Hill. And there we have a 128.4. This is without a setup again, just to clarify for those that are wondering. Right, what happened to Shelty then? Shelty got a 3-second penalty here. And Phantom Hank is already off there. Shelty just taps them because they were already off as well. And you're telling me Shelty gets a 3-second penalty for that? It's all Shelty's fault. No, it's not. That's nowhere near Shelty's fault. That's a bit silly. Right, who went flying? It's Arkies that went flying. And look at this for avoiding action. Avoids everybody. Went for the gap there to slow himself down. Brilliant avoidance. Huge sportsmanship there. Check out Arkies on YouTube, of course. Right, coming up here then, the Mercedes comes back onto the racing line right in the braking zone, which means Hodgson hit them. It is on Hodgson as well there. Hodgson maybe need a bit quicker reactions, and Hodgson did apologise for that. Did talk about it in Discord as well, for those wondering. We're through here there. Pepito taps the Spanish driver into me, and then is going to send it down the inside here. Do they get it stopped? They do. To be fair, that's an okay move as we continue on through there, but yeah, a slight tap into the right. Now, what happened here then? So MG flashed on the inside. Pepito sort of doesn't see him there. And then into the barrier. And then, did they turn left? Yes, they turn left. So they completely blocked there. That's dirty driving. Completely dirty driving there, Christian. Absolutely dirty. It's not very good at all. And you're just showing yourself in a bad light. Now, this corner, you don't brake for it. I don't normally brake for it. But what's Christian going to do here? Just stab the brakes. Hits the barrier. Then, yeah, it just causes carnage then thereafter. And slightly taps MG Flash. And then is going to leave the race. Annoyingly. So I get the 4-second penalty. Which, again, is not fair in my opinion. Right, okay, what happened here then? We saw a few people slow. Never Quit 69 off. Oh, hello, the Renault Megane Trophy, but Head also off there. The understeering to Narnia. So that's 2 of them and how they went off. How did the Spanish driver go off then? Slag comes out the pits, takes that inside line. Spanish driver tries to take avoiding action and heads off. That's going to be it for this video, though, folks. If you did enjoy it, do give it a like. Do subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. I appreciate all the support. 2 videos there to check out, including what's happening with the car profiles. If you're unsure what is the fastest Group 3 car at the moment, or that has been, check those out. We test the cars, we put them in the leaderboard, we tell you all the information you need. Big thank you once again for watching, and I hope to see you in another video live stream again very soon.